All right. Hello, everybody. It is Friday. It is time to partay. If your idea of partying is, going over real estate questions, which sadly enough, I think that is my idea of partying. So I don't know. So let's see if this is going to tell us. Oh, there it is. It's a little bit of a delay as usual, but I got to really find a way around that. Got to find a way around it. I didn't do Zoom today. We'll try Zoom next time. So, let's just get on into it. If you have a question, you know what you need to do. Just ask. Otherwise, we're going to continue going backwards through these Chat GPT designed questions. Now, if you don't remember, the Chat GPT questions, they're not perfect, but they are better than nothing, and they hopefully are giving you an idea. You passed your test Tuesday. What? I love that for you. And you know what that means.
Good job, good job. Good job, good job. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job, good job.
Hey, and
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
right. Jordan, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, and I will get you the link to sign up with tutoring with me. And the easiest link to reach me at would be just do CandiceEllis@gmail.com. That's the one that goes to my phone, and I can send it to you. But more importantly, Emily, hey, I love that you passed. Love that so much for you. Woot, woot. All right, let's get to it unless somebody has a question. And the first message was, Dina, you've been listening to the 5-hour review. I'm so glad it helps. I love that. All right, number 36. A loan with a initial fixed rate that then adjusts is... Okay, I don't know why ChatGPT has problems forming sentences for questions, but bless its little heart, I think we can know what it's trying to say. A loan with an initial fixed rate that then adjusts is called. So I'm going to put this in here. Boop. Here you go. A loan with an initial fixed rate that adjusts during the life of the loan. Is called, is it A, a balloon loan, B, an ARM, C, negative amortization, or D, amortized loan? What do you think? All right, Caroline is giving me a B. Caroline says it's B. Now, Jordan, you said graduated adjustments, which... I mean, it could be that, but that's not an answer choice, right? You're going with B. Dina, you're going with B. Okay, so let's see. Is our answer B for ARM? Well, I say that like I have something to click on and make it work. But yeah, that's right. It is correct. That is the right answer. Do y'all remember when you used to get papers back and your teacher would tell you, hey, the answer's right, and you got a little check mark for C? So we got that one right. Now, ARM stands for what? ARM stands for what? What does ARM stand for? What does ARM stand for? And hopefully you know it is adjustable rate mortgage. Right? And we know what it is because it's right there. That's the definition. Is everybody cool with balloon, negative amortization, and amortized loan? Do we need any help with that? Yes, it is amateur adjustable rate mortgage. Yep. I know there's a little bit of a delay there. Sorry, guys. But are we good with negative amortization, amortized loan, balloon loan? Because these are great vocab words. The English language may not be the world's best from this thing, but it does have a good, good handle of the options there. So I'll give you a second. Let me know. Do I need to go over any of them? Hey, Trix. I see you. You're good? Okay. Everybody's good? All right. Give it another second. Just making sure. Boop, 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 boop. All right. You're to do a number 35. Yeah, I know. We're going backwards, remember? It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. It's like, it's good. So, the cost using, can you make an appointment as soon as, yes, Caroline, I want you to do that. And I want you, this is not a tutoring session. This is a session just for you because I want to help you. So you just email me. Don't go through the prep agent site, or just email me directly. All right, no cost. So 35, using cost to rebuild minus depreciation is the what? Using cost to rebuild minus depreciation is the, actually kind of like this question. Is it A, income approach, B, replacement cost approach, C, sales comparison approach, or D, reconciliation? Oh, no worries, Elena. We're just glad you're here. What do you think? A, B, C, or D? A, B, C, or D? What you got for me? A, B, C, or D? Elena says B. Now, Elena, I'm waiting for you to tell me you've passed because I know you know this information. Caroline says B. Dina says B. Jordan says B. We love that. Is our answer B, replacement cost approach? Yep, that is the right answer. But we also know when we're talking about the cost approach and you're rebuilding, there's two words there. There's the replacement, and then there's reproduction. What's the difference between those? One is a replacement rebuild. The other is a reproduction rebuild. What's the difference? You can't decide when to schedule, Miss Elena. I know that it's scary, but I want you to just go ahead and do it. I feel like you're answering these questions wonderfully, right? So what's the difference between replacement versus reproduction? I'm thinking that you all know. What is this difference? One uses current materials versus exact materials. Yes. Exactly. No, Dina, you're exactly right. So with the replacement, you're using similar materials. So this is usually for older homes. And for reproduction, you're using exact materials. Well, I'm going to say it's mostly for older homes. I think for both of these, it's about whether the home is older. So I think the easiest way to think about this is plaster walls. If you have plaster walls, if it's a reproduction, you've got to use plaster. You're pricing it through plaster, right? But if you're doing replacement, then you could use just some drywall, right? So it does make a difference. All right, let's do number 34. An appraiser identifies intended use and method before appraisal. This defines what? Okay. An appraiser identifies the intended use, okay, and the method before appraisal. This defines, is it A, the market value, B, the scope of work, C, the highest and best use, or D, the estimate date? Now, I'm pretty sure that you all can at least get rid of two of these. I think two of these are pretty obviously like, yeah, that is so not the answer. But what do you think it is? What do you think it is? Hey, Antonio. Welcome. Welcome to the rodeo. All right. Now, if you all are telling me C, we got C, we got C, we got C. Lots of people saying C. Lots of C people saying C. C, 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 C. Now, I will tell you that the answer that I found my answer key, by the way, that ChatGPT gave me is actually B, scope of work. What? Yes, it is scope of work. Now, I can say boo, but I can see where you all thought the answer is highest and best use. Like, I knew you knew it wasn't estimate date. I knew you knew it wasn't market value. Well, what's the difference? Remember, when an appraiser does an appraisal, there are different steps. And the appraiser needs to know what is the use of the appraisal. I think if you assume what is the use of the appraisal, then that tells them how they're going to move forward. Versus if they said the intended use of the property, then I could see how you would think it would be highest and best use. And then this whole method before appraisal, this is how they figure out what the work is going to be. So remember, guys, if I call an appraiser and tell them to go appraise a property, if they're doing it for a refi versus they're doing it for a bank to see, oh, how much is this house worth, market value, that's two different appraisals. It comes out differently. And I mean, I know it seems so weird. It seems weird. I think the key here is the intended use of the property of the appraisal. And then this method. This is the only reason I thought the answer was B. Because they're talking about the method of appraisal. I don't know the highest and best use. Does it even have a method? I mean, I don't think so. But when you talk about highest and best use, you do talk about the use that is legal, that is probable, that's most likely going to happen, all of those things. So I feel like that was a good one. Not my favorite question, but I feel like ChatGPT helped with that one. We got to talk about it. But if you have any questions, I want you to drop them in the chat. Drop them in the chat. All right, let's skip around. I feel like we've done a lot of... Let's skip around. Let's get away from here. How about 30? A trust deed involves three parties. Who holds legal title? A trust deed involves three parties. Who holds legal title? Is it A, the borrower, B, the trustee, C, the seller, or D, the lender? This is a great question. This question is getting a big fat from me. Let's see. It gets a star. It gets a gold star. This is a gold star question. I love this question. A trust deed involves three parties. Who holds legal title? All right. It's why you're nervous to schedule your exam because you feel like you don't know enough. Okay, I would not go by these questions because remember, I just had ChatGPT draw them up and I haven't gone through them. I'm looking at them for the first time with you all right? But if you're getting the majority of these right and you understand when I'm explaining why I think the answer is, that means you do probably have a good handle, and just go ahead. Don't be afraid. All right, so you all told me it is B, the trustee, and that, of course, is the right answer because we know the three parties are the borrower, who's going to be the grantor, because they're granting, right? You got the trustee, and you got the beneficiary, because this would be for a title theory state. Right? Makes sense? Robot versus human, part 2. Yep, there you go. All right, let's try let's skip around a little bit. Let's do 27. A loan where monthly payments don't cover interest, so balance grows, is what? A loan where monthly payments don't cover interest, so the balance grows, is what? Is it A, a balloon mortgage, B, negative amortization, C, an ARM, or D, a wraparound mortgage? What say you? What are you thinking it is? All right, Dina's giving me a B. Antonio's giving me a B. Jordan's giving me a B. Elena, Caroline, all giving me B's. I'm telling y'all know this. Y'all know this. Now think, guys, I asked ChatGPT to create questions that, people struggle with, and you all are not struggling. That should tell you something about your knowledge. I love it. All right, everybody got that one right, so let me know if you have a question about any of the other words. Otherwise, I'm going to scroll on. Ooh, this one's agency. A manager collects rent from property and distributes. Let's take that back. Try it again. A manager collects rent from property and distributes it. Why can I not say it? Distributes it. Acting on behalf of the owner, that's what? A manager collects rent from property and distributes it. I don't know why I was struggling with that one. On behalf of the owner. That is it general agency, special agency, universal agency, or transactional broker? And I see you asked, wraparound is for refinancing. I will come back to that. Wraparound is refinancing. Y'all are saying A. Yes, the answer, in fact, is A. Because we know if you're in sales, you're probably going to be a special agent and you have to follow direct instructions. Right? So I love that you got it right. But somebody asked about the wraparound loan. And this was the example I gave the other day. If you go back to my lives where, you have one person who has an original loan. They move out. And then there's a new owner who pays money to this original owner. And then the original owner takes that money and pays the bank. So it's a new loan. So basically the seller's doing financing without removing their original loan. All right? So it doesn't necessarily have to do with refinancing unless you call it a second finance. Is a universal agent the same as an attorney in fact? Yeah. So it's attorney in fact is... Attorney in fact is going to be the same as like, a power of attorney. All right, let's roll. How about this one? An agent tells a buyer the property value is $300,000, but the realtor CMA shows $280,000. The agent has engaged in what? Ooh. The agent tells the buyer the property value is $300,000, but the realtor CMA shows $280,000. Ooh, the agent engages in what? This one's different, y'all. I don't know how I feel about this question. You tell me, what do you think the answer is? What do you think this answer is? Or are there some answers that you can eliminate? All right? I don't know what ChatGPT was thinking, but I think we might have to go through and eliminate some. So, I'm going to eliminate the first one. I'm going to go ahead and I want to eliminate estoppel. We know estoppel is the doctrine of estoppel. And that has to do more with like creating agency and your authority from agency. So yeah, that's not estoppel. We know it's not that. Is there okay, yes, puffing relates to advertising. Exactly. This is an opinion. Now you could argue that what something is worth is an opinion, but no, this is usually talking about it's a cozy house and it's small. So we know it's not A. We know it's not D, and that leaves us between B or C. Fraudulent misrepresentation or negligent misrepresentation. Well, first, we know the word, change colors, misrepresentation is a lie. And this guy did lie. He knows full well it's probably going to sell for $280, and he said $300,000. So we know, yes, there is a lie there. The question is, was it negligent or was it fraudulent? What's the difference between negligent and fraudulent? Was it negligent misrepresentation? You didn't mean to lie. Or was it fraudulent misrepresentation? You were trying to get somebody to believe something that wasn't true. What do you think? It all comes down to intent. Now, Antonio, I love that. Now, pretend you are your commission or your licensing entity. If you did a CMA that showed 280, but then you tell 300, are we thinking that was fraudulent, like you did it on purpose, or did you accidentally tell them the wrong one? Right? And I can tell you right now, as far as ChatGPT is concerned, it is fraudulent. Because negligent means you didn't mean to defraud. Like you did something and it wasn't on purpose. But dude, you knew full well it was 280. You knew full well it was 280. So we're going with fraudulent. I don't love the question, but I do love addressing the topic. Remember, we cannot lie to our clients. Some states will use the word fraudulent and negligent and things like this. And when you get to the national side, you got to go with what you know as far as these words, what they're meaning. Fraudulent means you're trying to get something over on somebody. Negligent means you didn't mean to. And dude, if you did a CMA that said 280 and then you said 300,000, that's fraud. Does this help? Again, not a perfect question, but does it help to see how I would go about answering it? Right? That's the goal. So no question is perfect. I don't even think the questions on your exam are going to be perfect. But if you know how to think through the answers, that's where you get a little bit better skills. All right. How about this? An agent secretly profits from recommending a lender. This violates, well, first, it violates RESPA. RESPA says, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go to jail. This is a kickback, and RESPA is like, absolutely not. No, sir. But RESPA isn't one of our answer choices. So, an agent secretly profits from recommending a lender. This violates your fiduciary duties, your customer loyalty, undisclosed dual agency, or implied authority. I love the question, but I think the answer choices are so different. We should be able to work through it, right? So I'm getting lots of y'all telling me the answer is A. Well, if the answer is A, if our answer is A, can you tell me what's wrong with B? Can you tell me what's wrong with C? Can you tell me what's wrong with D? What's wrong with B? What's wrong with C? What's wrong with D? Because we want to use these answer choices as a stepping off point for talking about all things real estate related. What are we thinking? Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. That was I Dream a Genie, right? And then there's Bewitched, which sounds very similar. Bewitched is do 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 do. Okay, sorry. I went off on a tangent. So yes, we can get rid of B. We can get rid of B because we're not the customer. We're assuming it's a buyer's agent. And if it's a buyer's agent because they recommended a lender, then your customer is the seller. And this, no, we don't owe them anything. Right? And yes, Jordan, exactly. You do have the duty of disclosure. Yes, we love that. Now, undisclosed dual agency, that is important to know, is going to be illegal in every state. But this is not what it's describing. That would be one broker representing both sides. That's not what we're talking about here. Nope. An implied authority, that talks about, well, authority talks about, what are you allowed to do? So great word, but not what they're looking for. So yeah, A is the only answer that makes sense. Love it. Hey, Dahlia, that's okay. No worries. I love how, you know what I love about y'all? Y'all just let me sing the Bewitched and the I Dream a Genie thing. It didn't even bat an eye. You're my people. You're my people. Y'all understand my brain's a little weird. So I appreciate y'all. And hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's do this. I think we all know 21, but let's talk about it. A single agent represents only the buyer. This is A, dual agency, B, imputed agency, C, single agency, or D, open agency. Go ahead and put that answer in the chat. I know you know what it means. I know you know what it means. I know you know what it is. I should probably say that. What is it? Tell me what you know. What does it mean? All right, we got C's, we got C, we got C, we got C. All right, what's imputed? Ooh, good question. What's imputed? Anybody know what imputed means? So I know this one you probably don't. Imputed, when I think of the word imputed, I think of like inferred. Or you know what I think of? You know how if you have to say something, if you say something to the buyer's agent, it's the same as telling the buyer directly. That's what we call the way I've heard this word is really usually imputed knowledge. So this is a thing, but it doesn't have anything to do. I don't know of any state that tests you on it. That's just more of I happen to know it. So it's not this, y'all. It's not imputed agency. Nope. Of course, the answer is C, single agency, because it's not dual agency and it's not open agency. And even if it was, wouldn't it be an open listing? What is an open listing? What is an open listing? So kind of like playing telephone. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Do. What is an open listing? And while I'm waiting for you all to tell me what an open listing is, how about next Tuesday night, maybe, for a live? I don't know. Maybe next Tuesday? Mm-hmm. Anyone can earn a fee. Exactly. An open listing means there's many brokers looking for a buyer, but only one gets paid. Right? This is where if I'm the seller, I go, hey guys, any of you can make flyers, any of you can have open houses, but I'm letting each and every one of you know I'm only paying the person who actually finds the buyer. I don't care how much money you put into this thing. I'm only paying the broker who finds the buyer. Boom. All right, we love it. Ooh, let's see if we can put this on one page. A seller doesn't disclose material defects. This breaches, is it A, caveat emptor, B, a unilateral contract, C, common law caveat ventor, or D, novation? Ugh. I don't know if I like this question, but what do you all think it is? I don't even know if I like this one. How are we feeling about this? Well, are there any that we can get rid of? So let's talk through this one. E, she said E. All right, well, let's see what I could get rid of. I know I could get rid of unilateral contract because we know where that's, one party promises to do something. It's a if and then. It's not how you spell then, Candace. Doot. So it's not unilateral contract. We know it's not novation because we know that's replacing a person for another person. So now we're down to caveat emptor and common law caveat venditor. So, caveat emptor is let the buyer beware. And caveat venditor is let the seller beware. Well, if I know that, I would say let the buyer beware. That means buyer, you didn't disclose breaches. I mean, the idea of caveat emptor is that you're on your own, right? The buyer is on their own. So a seller not disclosing means that is caveat emptor. Caveat emptor means that you're on your own. So I don't think it can be A. What caveat venditor would say is seller, you're on your own. I think the answer has to be C because I think I've eliminated all the other choices. Now, I've got to go check and see what the answer is. But does everybody see why I would get to B? See why I would get to C. I don't love it. I by no means love this answer, but I know it's not B. I know it's not D. It would be nice if the answer is E, but it's not. So it comes down to A or C, and I really have to think about what does caveat emptor mean. It means if you're the buyer, like buying a used car off of Craigslist, it's up to you to figure things out. And so the seller not disclosing didn't breach anything. So I think we have to eliminate A and go with C. Let's see. Y'all, I don't know. Give me a second. Let me see what they say the answer is. I'm nervous. I don't know, guys. I think this is not a great question, but it is great practice to see how I would actually go about taking this exam. So I think the answer is C. Let me look. Hey, the answer's C. The answer's C. Hey, the answer's C. Now, I don't know if that's the way they were thinking about it, but that actually is the answer. You know what, Antonio? Don't worry about it. This is going to get a big fat. Don't worry about this. This right there is don't worry about it. I can tell you in all of the years of me teaching real estate, I've maybe seen caveat venditor pop up like maybe in over 15 years of teaching, maybe 4 times. Like I would not. Like I would not. So, oh Lord, especially you, Elena, do not be like, oh, I don't know something. Absolutely not. Like it's so rare. Great. It was a good walkthrough question, but I don't think this would ever be on your test. All right, let's see what we got now. Which contract can't be assigned without permission? Which contract can't be assigned without permission? So don't add it to your brain. I would say, Dina, let it kind of marinate in your brain, but don't get too excited. Do not spend any more time on it than what we just did. Which contract can't be assigned without permission? The open listing, the land contract, the purchase agreement, or the recording covenant? This one, so this one's weird. This one is weird. I just happen to know that in contract law, contracts can be assigned unless they say no. So which contract can't be assigned without permission? Well, I get it. I feel like an installment land contract wouldn't be able to be assigned because who would be doing the assigning? You've got the buyer, and the buyer would need permission from the seller in order to say, hey, they trust the new buyer to buy. And the seller can't assign. So I like land contract. Open listings, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. Purchase agreements, I think they can. I mean, a recording covenant, I gotta go with B. I gotta go with B, right? So let's see. Is our answer B? And guys, we are geniuses. Yes, the answer is B. Hey. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I don't mind there being terrible questions. Because it forces us to think. Think about a land contract. A land contract is also called a contract for deed or like an installment land contract, right? And so this is basically seller financing. What is going on with my thing? Let's try that again. It is basically seller financing. So no, if you're the buyer, let's say I'm the buyer and you all, the students, are the seller. You know my credit's great, but if I try to assign the contract to a crackhead, do you really think that credit head is going to pay you? So yeah, you need I would need permission from you, the seller, to assign it. And then how am I as a seller going to assign my interest to anything? I own the land. So yeah, this is how I figured out this answer. I was truly stumped at first. Truly was stumped at first. But does it help hearing how I would work through that and figure it out? I don't expect that when I go to this exam, when I take my Michigan exam, I'm going to know every answer. I might get something like this one. And I don't love the answer choices, but I loved how it made me think. All right, let's go to our next one. I know you know this one. A seller rejects one offer, then responds with different terms. This is an acceptance, a counteroffer, a conditional acceptance, or an addendum. Ooh. A seller rejects one offer, then responds with different terms. This is an acceptance, a counteroffer, a conditional acceptance, and then an addendum. What say you? All right. Antonio says B. Dina says B. Elena says B. Caroline says B. B. Barbaran. Okay, sorry. Really, I just feel bad for me because this is what goes on in my head all the time. People are like, you paying attention? No, I'm off singing a song somewhere in my head, putting on a whole Broadway musical. All right. And yes, we know the answer is counteroffer. Why? Some people might say, oh, well, why isn't it a conditional acceptance? Because they completely rejected one offer. Like, this is the definition of a counteroffer. We know that. This is a good basic question. I like it. When you get one of these questions, don't just assume, oh, they're trying to trick me. No, it's not tricky unless you don't know what a counteroffer is. So know what you know and be positive about it. Let's do 16. Which is true of a contract under seal? Ooh. Which is true of a contract under seal? Oral is sufficient. It needs consideration. It's enforceable without consideration or only for personal property. What? Yeah, Jordan. Jordan, sometimes it got great questions, sometimes it got crappy questions. But it goes through and it tells us what we need to study. And now, like I said, like with that caveat venditor, you've now seen it once. Could it show up on your exam? I mean, it could. Also, I could decide that I want to move to, I don't know, someplace hot. I don't try to move anyplace hot. It's not going to happen. I could decide that I'm never going to shop anymore. Never going to happen. I could decide to never randomly sing a song again. Never going to happen. I mean, I could. And that's how I feel about, caveat venditor. This question, I don't think you're going to see it, but it brings up a great discussion. So, let's see. You all are telling me you think the answer is B. You think the answer is B. Now, can anybody tell me what a seal is? Can anybody tell me what a seal is? And I mean this because I'm going to go away from the question. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the essential lists. And I'm going to go to All right, this is what I was looking for. We know that there are the essential elements of a deed, and then we have non-essential elements of a deed. And even though, a deed is a type of contract, but look, seal is here. Deeds don't have to be sealed. And if I were talking about contracts, we know contracts are MCLL, mutual agreement, consideration, lawful objective, and legal capacity. So my question to you is, we've talked about this, but what is a seal? What is a seal? Hmm? You've been kissed by a rose? Yeah, you know what, Dina, I when I read that, I would be like, what? So let me show you how I would break it down. I don't even know if I'd get the right answer here. Stop that. Cancel. Ah, pull myself together here. Here we go. So let's see. What's true of a contract under seal? Well, I know a seal is an extra legal promise. So think about it. When you go to a notary, they're basically promising somebody's identity. It's like securing that document, making sure it's true. And if I know that, well, I know it has nothing to do with personal property. Boom. And I know, just from what I know about notaries, you got to put stuff in writing. So now I'm down between it needs consideration or it's enforceable without consideration. Now, a contract under seal, I'm going to guess this one. I'm going to guess that this is, the seal is securing consideration, but that's just my guess. So I'm going to tell you what they think it is, but skip this in your knowledge base. This question is a big fat poo. I think this is more of a law school question. Thank you, ChatGPT, but no, we don't need this. Now, let me see what they say the answer is. Oh, good. I'm a good guesser. Guesser. They did say the answer is C, but guys, that was a 50-50 guess for me. That was a 50-50 guess for me. I just happened to guess right, but I will say that being able to eliminate 2 made it easier to guess it correctly. All right. Let's try 15. Which is true of tenancy in common? Which is true of tenancy in common? Is it A, equal shares only? You said tricks authenticity. I'm being authentic. I don't know. I got nothing. So which is true of tenancy in common? Is it equal shares only? Does it have the right of survivorship? Can it be for unequal shares, or is it only for unmarried couples? What say you? What you got for me? All right, we got C. We got a C. Elena says C. Dina says C. Jordan says C. C, C, C. Yeah, y'all know it's C. You knew it was C. This is one of those, if you see it, you know you're going to get it right, because you know they're going to test you on tenancy in common and joint tenancy and the right of survivorship and all that. You already know that's going to be on the test. All right, and it looks like we've already done the other ones. So here's my question to you. For next week, do you want math? Do you want like lessons, like on a topic where I just teach it? Or do you want more questions from ChatGPT or some other source? What do you want next week? What do we need? And we know next week we'll have Friday at 3. And then I can guarantee you, other days will be later. Because I got to teach in the morning. So, you said math, please. I can do at least one day of math. I can do at least one day of math. Math and question, lessons or chat GPT. Let's do both questions and math. Okay. I can do some questions and then go over to math. That's cool. And then if you all want, when I say lessons, I could go over a topic I know people struggle with, like avoid versus voidable. Like I could just pick a topic, or, the difference between variance and non-conforming use. So it can be whatever we want it to be. So agency scenarios sometimes stump you. Jordan, bring some questions or email them to me beforehand and we'll go over them. All right, guys, it's been about an hour. I really hope this helps. But again, I love doing this with you all. I really and truly do. So bring some friends. We're going to have some fun. If you have your own questions that you want me to go over, something you've seen, as long as it's not an exam question, I'd be glad to go over it. So guys, enjoy your weekend. The math was really helpful and where you struggle with the most. Okay, maybe I'll jump on this weekend and do some math. Just make sure you put the notifications on, and maybe I'll jump on and do some math this weekend. Either way, be good. Don't do anything that I would actually do, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, everybody.